Hey everyone, how you doing? Hope you find yourself well. So today we will be taking a look into material typography. Okay, so diving a little bit into Kotlin, diving a little bit into the material design and what we can do in terms of typography, how we can use, the standards that come directly from the material theme, and also how can we create, custom typography. Okay. So I will be putting, all the links on the description below, including, links directly to the material documentation and also link to the repository where we will have the example that we'll be looking. Yeah, as you guys can see, we have already set up a couple of text components here for her name and for a little bit of information. So this will be like more or less like, receiving message kind of UI. And yeah, there's a couple of, setups already done here. But before we dive into this, let's just take a quick look into the documentation. So the documentation, I will post a link down below, and this goes directly into, the material theming, and here was specifically to typography. So I think first things here to notice that is material design. It has material design 2 and material design 3, and there are some differences there, including the semantics of the typographies themselves, and how they actually appear on the screen and how they're configured. So please keep that in mind, if you're using M2 or M3. But here in this case, we will be diving into M3 and how to customize based on that. So here in the documentation, you can see already the distinction between those two. You can dive a little bit into that yourselves. And here we have, the standards of M3, display large, display medium, and this is, off the shelf. You can, directly use them, and I'll show you guys in a minute. And if you dive a little bit more here, just let's scroll to the bottom. And here they kind of go into, how you can create your custom typographies. We'll have a look into that as well, and how to, after you create that, how to, inject that into the material theme, and then how to use it. Okay, so take a quick look into this. It's definitely very, very helpful. It's good documentation, around this topic. So yeah, have a look into that. Let's now go back to our example. So here, as I mentioned before, we already have a couple of things set up. So first, let's dive into, what you can get basically off the shelf and how can you, utilize that. So here on this, let's call this, the top section here, we have a couple of components. Let's dive into this text. So her name basically here, it's using directly from the material, and it's using, a label large. And again, if you go back to the documentation, you go here and you will see, label large, how it's been, defined in, in the material side. And here it's pretty simple. As soon as you tap into the material theme, go directly into the typography toolkit, and then you can dive directly into those off the shelf. Here as well, I'm adding a little bit of a font weight, just bold, just to, make it pop a little bit more. Just manipulating the colors here as well a little bit. This already goes a little bit beyond, but it's still within the theme, of typography. So yeah, off the shelf, label large, you get something like that. If you guys take out the font weight, let's just take a look to see how it would look like without that bold. And again, like even, the off-the-shelf typographies that you get from material, you can, stylize them as much as you want. Basically, they give you a pretty much easy and helpful API for you to just like go into that and then do whatever you want, basically. So as you guys can see here, the bold is out. It still looks quite nice, for off-the-shelf kind of configuration. I prefer with the bold, so let's bring that back. So if we dive here a little bit down, you see, that information section there, kind of exemplifying how long that she has sent the message from. And here again, we're using label small. And like I said before, like you can, customize it as much as you want. Here I'm giving as well a bold, doing a little bit of manipulation of the color, and then diving into the text alignment. Okay, so this is the type of thing that you guys can expect coming out, and this is again Material 3. What you can have, it's pretty good in my opinion. You can most of the time, the standard things, unless you have a very specific, type of UI that you want to build, and if it's just, something that you want to show your clients or a quick project, this kind of things will be really helpful for you. And again, you can always customize them if you need to. Okay. So now, let's dive a little bit here into how you can, customize the typographies and inject them into the material team itself. Okay, so if we dive a little bit down here, so these two sections, the title of the group in this case would be, and then her message. Here, what we're doing is that we are just defining our styles. So here I'm using a body large and a body medium, but here I have already, manipulated a little bit. So let's see how that's done. So if we scroll up on this code base, you guys are gonna see here. So first thing that we need to have is a text style, variable. So here in this case, I'm just, giving the names as they are coming from material. And this text style, comes directly from the Compose. And if we dive into that, this is Compose UI. And basically here, there is a huge amount of, parameters that you can tap into and manipulate. I think all of them come with a default value. As you can see, some already specified, others are null. So even if you're creating your own, you don't need to define everything, which is quite useful. And at the same time, it gives you like a lot of space to customize, right? And I remember like back in the days with XML and getting different types of font, it was a bit of a pain. I think Compose makes things much more intuitive, much more simpler for us to customize those typographies. So in this body large, I'm giving normal font weight here, font family, font size, a bit of spacing, and a couple more things, color as well, text alignment. Here you can go directly. Let's give it a bold actually. Let's give it bold. And this body large is being used here for this Fashion Week London title. But before we dive into that, body medium here, kind of like same idea, just create a new variable, text style, and you guys can see that already changed there on our preview. So once you have those variables, those text style variables created, the next thing you do, you need to create a typography type of object. And it's pretty simple as well. Make sure that you're using the one coming from Material 3, here in this case, okay? And here, again, you would have, basically the whole list of the off-the-shelf typography names. And you can then just basically create your own based on that, which is quite handy. So here I'm just, updating the body large and the body medium. And that's basically it for the typography, because the customization goes around here on the text style, basically. Once you have that typography object constructed, the next step what you need to do is just inject it directly into the material team, right? And that's pretty easy, just, open the material team object, composable here, and pass that typography directly into that. And then later on, within the scope of this Compose, you can then just use it as we are doing here. We just go into that, go into the body medium, which is now the one that we have customized. And it would then use that as the reference. And then you would, build with that. So again, pretty straightforward. If you guys follow the documentation, it's pretty clear what you need to do, how you need to do it, and how much you can customize, and the type of customization that you can do. And again, Compose comes, the overall idea of Compose is to make things a little bit more straightforward. And definitely in this sense here, it is making so much more straightforward because it's clear and it's easy to manipulate, it's easy to customize, and in the software development world, that's always very much acceptable. So yeah, if you guys have, any questions or anything, let me know on the comments below. And I think the next time, let me know as well if you would like to, dive into a little bit more of this textile font style to see how you can manipulate that as well. I might create a next video about that. But yeah, guys, that's it. Again, this code will be in the description below on the public repository of the channel. And yeah, catch you guys next time. Cheers.